Hi guys, and welcome back to Reality Recap. Remember to subscribe and give this episode a thumbs up. The tell-all portion of Sister Wives Season 19 has officially come to a close, and it brought some unsettling new revelations about Kody Brown and his relationships with his ex-wives. Across the four-part one-on-one specials, Kody repeatedly denied allegations and avoided many of Suki's questions, often responding with noticeable hostility. But it was his strange behavior toward the end of the tell-all that left many fans confused. So what actually happened? Let's dissect it all. One of Kody's most striking moments during Part 4 of the tell-all was when he spoke about his alleged aspirations for the family. To him, he always envisioned creating a home where everybody worked together. Even after relocating the family to Flagstaff, he asserted that was his aim still. But once all things in Flagstaff began to fall apart, Kody stated that he started losing trust. When questioned whether or not he is happy today, he told us that he, Robyn, and his children are happy at home. He also added that as long as he just pretends not to notice all the drama and accusations from his ex-wives, he is able to maintain that peace. And when questioned whether he would ever perform plural marriage again, Kody replied with a definite no. Fans were particularly curious about the close of Part 4. Once Kody and Suki bid each other adieu, the screen went dark. But then Kody could be heard muttering, "Cut the cameras, please." This prompted speculation on the internet that he was upset with the questions and wanted to close things down. Some fans viewed it as one of Kody's attempts to control everything, one that his ex-wives have already accused him of doing time and time again. Others think he felt compelled to react to things that made him uneasy. Some even went so far as to say that if they had their way, they'd cancel Kody's contract altogether and give his ex-wives a series of their own. They explained that he had to feel like he was in control, and this was his attempt to give his ego a final boost, even if it meant acting foolish. But instead, he just appeared stupidly stupid. This type of behavior could also account for why Tamron Hall is no longer doing the tell-alls. There was also discussion that Kody had a hand in that as well. With his dominating personality, Kody also became known for supposedly being the cause for former tell-all host Tamron Hall to be let go. During a previous reunion interview, both Tamron and Meri suggested that Robyn and Kody possibly had a significant portion of responsibility in that. Tamron is also famous for asking tough, straightforward questions. And in Season 9, things got a little heated when she mentioned Kody divorcing Meri to marry Robyn legally. Since then, a lot of fans have thought Kody was safeguarding Robyn and loved her more than anyone else, something he now admits freely. With Kody's continued drama with his other wives, there are even rumors that Season 20 might be at risk. But recently on a podcast, Suki claimed Kody has been making an effort to appear more for his children. Robyn Brown, on the other hand, was criticized for her remarks during Part 4. On Tell All, the former wives mentioned a vacation memory in which they went out of their way, while Robyn tended to take care of herself primarily. Robyn claimed not to recall anything like that and waved off the accusations. But then fans unearthed some old video that appeared to disprove her statement, and they didn't hesitate to call her out. On tell-all episodes during Season 19, Robyn frequently became emotional, but her response wasn't always popular with audiences. When Suki revealed mean things she'd heard from the other wives, Robyn responded sometimes with stilted humor or avoidance. Janelle, for instance, referred to her as Kody's sacred cow. Robyn brushed it off, but a lot of fans felt she was in on it the whole time and just pretended otherwise. And the backlash hasn't let up. Robyn denied that she knew the luggage rack was a source of exasperation for the other wives. She said she just took it and didn't pay much mind. But there are fans who think Robyn was quietly telegraphing triumph over the ex-wives. Her denial wasn't long-lasting, however. Social media proof in the form of video footage soon discredited her account. During the clip, Christine, Meri, and Janelle described how Robyn wasted her time doing makeup when the family went on a camping trip. The video really demonstrates Robyn putting on makeup while others labored. She even remembered in another interview that Meri and Janelle were preparing breakfast during that time. And yet, amazingly, she just conveniently forgot all of that during part 4 of the tell-all. Some supporters believe that this was Robyn's attempt to try to duck responsibility, but the proof is there, and people aren't giving her a pass. One viewer commented, "I was having morning sickness and still needed to go into work. Makeup was the last thing on my mind, and even if I had, it would have melted right off anyway." Another posted, "I haven't worn makeup since being pregnant, but I'm not on TV. And I only have one child." They think Robyn was only having fun getting her camera face on for Kody in the show. What annoys viewers is that she can't seem to just own it. A straightforward, genuine answer, such as, "I wanted to look good for my husband and I was still a newlywed on camera," would have been appreciated. But Robyn never pauses to actually reflect or tell the truth. The issue is, she continues to make the decision to lie. It's second nature. And Kody and Robyn either can't see the truth or they think audiences will blindly believe what they are saying. Another subject Robyn had to clear up during the tell-all was regarding her romance with Kody. There has been long-standing rumor that their relationship turned physical prior to their spiritual marriage. Janelle even stated that she would have cut ties if Kody had courted her for an entire year the way he courted Robyn. The other ex-wives have commented on how at ease Kody appeared to be in the company of Robyn, well before they were wedded. Christine at one point stated it made her feel as though they'd crossed the threshold beforehand. But Robyn resisted all of that. She maintained that she and Kody didn't even kiss until after they'd had their spiritual ceremony. Actually, she said Kody's kiss was so clumsy it wasn't even romantic. After all these years, the audience is emotionally exhausted and torn. The most recent round of one-on-one interviews showed even more about the complicated family dynamics and had viewers wondering where the show is going, and if the man at the center of it is trustworthy. Throughout the interviews, Kody kept saying the same thing again and again, that bringing people together was always his end goal. From the very beginning, he described having a vision for a life where all people were living in harmony. Even the idea of relocating the family to that mountain community had been part of the vision for a new beginning. But standing before the cameras, he owned up to the fact that dream had disintegrated. He told me the minute their community fell apart, he lost his faith. The emotional terrain that was shown during the tell-all was anything but secure. Asked how he felt today, Kody answered with surprising composure. He told me he's content with Robyn and the children, and that he has peace by closing his ears to the voices of his previous wives. But it wasn't only what he said. It was the manner in which he spoke. The frigid, condescending tone, the superior attitude. It unsettled many viewers. And then the moment of reckoning for the reunion. Just as the host had finished posing the final questions and the screen was fading out, Kody's voice was caught on microphone, filling the silence with a spontaneous remark. "Cut the cameras, please." A unvarnished, genuine moment, one that conveyed more than any written line could. That one, impromptu comment, "Cut the cameras, please," prompted a tide of conspiracy on social media. Several viewers grew suspicious that Kody had become more and more uncomfortable with the tone of the interview and the type of questioning being hurled at him. Some thought that the degree of emotional responsibility demanded of him had totally taken him by surprise. Forums went into overdrive with conspiracy theories. Some supporters claimed that the segment had been heavily edited to maintain Kody's reputation, while others believed that Kody was being forced into a story that no longer centered around him. Critics weren't shy, observing that Kody's dominating presence had been long gone. Demands for change were louder, with most fans clamoring for the producers of the show to bring the spotlight to the women, the ones who experienced it, loved in spite of it, and in the end decided to get out. One fan community in particular made it pretty clear they wanted a spin-off series focusing on the women now establishing new careers and lives. They expressed frustration with the repurposed storylines, and particularly from a perspective that, to a lot of viewers, no longer feels in the spirit of the show. The broken foundation of the family Kody previously presided over is no longer what captivates most viewers. The audience of today cares more about the emotional development and sovereignty of the first three wives, Meri, Janelle, and Christine, who are diving into healing and self-awareness. Old controversy was also kicked up too, especially over the leaving of an old tell-all host. Prolonged fans remembered how that old host once challenged the legality and emotional implications of Kody's choice to legally wed Robyn, while continuing to be spiritually bound to his other wives. That very bold line of questioning was said to have ruffled some feathers behind the scenes, and could have had something to do with the shifts in how the tell-alls are currently staged. Despite her professionalism and poise, the current host seemed to be walking a fine line, trying to balance empathy with accountability. Viewers noticed how some tough questions were glossed over, and how answers were often wrapped in vague or careful wording. Meanwhile, Kody, more media-aware than ever, deflected responsibility and self-styled as misunderstood, not guilty. He insisted the story had been distorted, making him a villain. He went so far as to compare himself to pop culture icons who'd been misunderstood for their beliefs. He insisted that his motives were based on a need for authentic connection, and insisted loving one partner more deeply shouldn't be construed as betrayal. But to the women who had stood by his side for decades, those words only reopened festering wounds. One former wife said the absence of empathy exhibited beforehand, during and after their breakup left her thoroughly disappointed. Another observed that favoritism wasn't something that accumulates over a period of time. It was always there, but more apparent now. A third, less combative, made it plain that hope for a reunion had been eliminated by years of emotional abandonment. Even non-family members were speculating on podcasts about the possible behind-the-scenes control Kody may have had, whether he'd influenced the show's editing, informed casting choices, or even directed the storyline. More and more fans are starting to question whether what they've been presented is just a carefully curated version of a much messier and fractured reality. The audience's message could not be more explicit. They need growth. The final few minutes of the tell-all might have been disconcerting, but what viewers really need is closure. They hope for healing, but perhaps most of all, they crave honesty. As this new installment comes to a close, the future of the series is unclear. Will the producers finally heed the increasing cry for fresh vision? Or will they continue using the same tired formula, alienating the longtime fans who once shared the vision of oneness? Cancellation rumors continue to circulate, and everyone seems to agree. It will be virtually impossible to maintain the theme of family cohesion with all that internal strife present between Kody and his former wives. Others state the only option is to totally reinvent the series, turning it into a vehicle showcasing the women's development, their self-sufficiency, and the new lives they're creating, well away from what's been left behind. For those who once caught hope and inspiration from the Brown family's unconventional way of life, there are only bittersweet feelings left. They've seen high-flying dreams fall victim to bitter reality, promises crumble into complaints, and loyalty turn sour into disillusionment. As viewers now hold their breaths in anticipation of whether or not Sister Wives will resume, one thing is certain. No matter if the saga continues on television, the influence it's made among faithful viewers won't be disappearing anytime soon. This final installment in what was once a beloved reality series has thrown a dark cloud of suspicion, particularly over one of the most volatile personalities of the show. The conclusion of the recent reunion did not arouse outrage due to the tearful confessions or the profound personal introspections. It was the stark contradiction that many saw as calculated dishonesty. What was meant to be a thoughtful wrap-up of the season became a war zone of colliding memories and tough realities. One particular group memory, warmly remembered by multiple ex-wives for its emotional and physical demands, was particularly notable. The woman at the center of the controversy attempted to avoid responsibility by stating she just didn't remember. Her former sister wives remembered the mess and stress of that trip in great detail. But shortly afterwards, footage of the very moment it happened surfaced, and it told a very different story. For a lot of faithful viewers, it wasn't merely the contradiction itself that hit close to home. It was how it was done. While there were certainly tears during that piece, every denial was met with a calm, detached delivery. To a lot of viewers, it read more like an act than real emotion, as if they were playing it for sympathy and not sharing truth. This isn't the first time her integrity has been questioned. Fans have increasingly observed how she tends to weasel out of responsibility by selecting her words carefully, spinning truth just enough not to tell a clear lie. This time, however, there was tangible evidence. In the video, while the rest of the family was scrambling around, making food, packing camp equipment, juggling children, she was quietly putting on lipstick, unfazed by the commotion surrounding her. Social media erupted almost immediately. Comment threads and forum boards were filled with responses, particularly once fans compared video to her on-air denial. "She always invokes memory loss when she's trapped," one viewer posted. "It's like she forgets that we can see too." What stung worst for most was the inconsistency. In the studio, she disavowed the moment completely. And yet, in a previous interview, she had recounted that same day in vivid detail who was there, what was occurring, and even the mood. That discrepancy between complete forgetfulness and vivid recall felt too calculated for ease. A few fans started to question whether this was all part of a larger trend, a tendency to rewrite history in an effort to avoid responsibility. Fans who used to be on her side now are among her most vocal detractors, citing a pattern of blame shifting, avoidance, and selective memory that's thinned over time. Her former defense, grounded in her introverted manner of speaking and meticulously constructed vulnerability, has begun to erode. What was once perceived as sincerity now strikes readers as more of an image management stratagem, and that change hasn't gone unnoticed. Adding to the unspooling drama was news of a long-suspected secret, that the romantic relationship at the heart of the show's conflict between her and Kody might have started much earlier and much more intensely than the accepted tale ever described. One of the ex-partners commented on how bizarre it was that so much emotional intensity would be around what was allegedly a disciplined, God-led courtship. While the other ex-wives considered their experiences with the plural marriage, she would have none of premarital intimacy, beyond a forced kiss, which she explained at the latest sit-down as a spiritual move, not an erotic one. It had the feel of an effort to close down any speculation that there had developed prematurely a stronger emotional connection. To drive the point home, she even underscored how awkward and unromantic that experience had been. Nevertheless, several viewers weren't sold. They contended that the evidence extended far beyond anything tangible. It was in the manner of the couple, their subtextual communication, and the understated hierarchy that appeared long before any vows were spoken. In one commentator's words, There was always a feeling of inevitability where they were concerned, as if the rest of the family were just waiting for them to legitimize something which was long apparent. Her ongoing storyline, one constructed on dedication, misinterpreted motives, and innocence, only serves to perpetuate the ambiguity. But snippets from previous seasons and eyewitness testimony from previous family members paint a different picture, one that suggests favoritism, entitlement, and a masterfully constructed path to the top. This season was supposed to be a time of reflection, a time to vent long-standing frustrations and perhaps, possibly, discover some common ground. And yet, it turned into a battlefield of memories, with contradictions galore, where the audience ended up playing the role of both jury and judge. As credits rolled and the screen went black, her last demand lingered in the air, requesting that filming be halted by the production team. For some, it seemed to be a moment of truth, a revelation of the power she might exert behind the scenes. For others, it was simply one more attempt to escape the repercussions of what she'd done. Whatever it was, the reunion did the very opposite of what was hoped. Instead of providing closure, it brought out the old lies, reopened old wounds, and again deepened the divide between former family members. And at the heart of it all stood a woman whose effort to rewrite the already written in the minds of the viewers might have proven to be her best performance, not her tears. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to Reality Recap for your daily news. We'll catch you later.